Lots of sheet music coming in, David.
Yeah, all right.
Do you want to play some more now? Do you want to sit on some stuff for tomorrow too?
Or maybe do we have the keyboard tomorrow? I guess we could.
Oh, I don't know.
It's when we do another Legoing, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get to do that then too.
Pretty sure if we want the keyboard tomorrow, we can just make Johnny keep paying for it.
Oh, it's a rental.
I believe you. Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
it is.
rental from Long and McQuaid.
Lovely.
Usually those are for like a week, I think. But
Yeah.
You can do a day.
Have a 1-day rental rate. It's like
It was.
really low.
It's $14.
Yeah, I think we could probably keep it for another day.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the guy, folks in charge.
Yep.
You say we can have it another day. I'm happy to play another day.
I'm assuming they will keep it for another day. We should probably make that clear in chat. Hey, can we keep this? Just be like, hey, can we keep this? I'll just make a note of it using my phone, which has.
Okay.
But Beach, that's 14 loonies.
Yeah, I'll live.
I believe that's the week rate. Like 2 days counts as a week as far as they're concerned. So you get it for the whole week.
I do like the.
Have it through Omega.
Yeah, so we would have it through
Yeah.
Omega.
I do like the head on Bija's outline. I feel like it's like you outlined, I don't know, Doug or somebody, like cartoon character with a very square head.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. This is what Bij would look like if he died and also had a flat top
Yeah.
haircut.
This is what he would look like if he died in an N64 game.
If he was a bad enough dude to save the president.
Sorry, I just saw a meme today. Classic old meme, and it's the arcade screen from Bad Dudes, where it's like, "Are you a bad enough dude to save the president?" Right? But of course, it's been edited. But it's that same guy with the really intense look on his face, and it just was like I'd forgotten all about it. To see it again was like having an old friend come home, and it just said, "Are you a bad enough dude to hit your balls with a hammer?" And it was like,
No.
great. Thank you for that. Well, how about I throw a few things into? I'm gonna hit up your DMs.
Slide
again.
into my DMs.
Yep. Throw some more things in there.
And if there's anything you want to play with keyboard and guitar,
Oh yeah,
we
No,
could do that.
I did see you responded to that. If I gave you the
Guitar, even. Wait, no.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
We could try that too, but I would need one.
Have you ever played one?
Back to the rental.
I have played one, yeah. I've played a little 2-octave guitar just to do like a synth line.
Neat.
promote that. Oh my goodness, there's just so many. I'm just gonna let you decide what you want to pick from all of the dozens of things that come out here.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I can only play about half of what the lovely chatters are sending in because, like I said, I don't want to play something I've never heard before.
That's fair. Thank you for indulging my asks, though. That was really great of you.
Give it a shot.
Could you even tell the stuff that I was just picking on my own for you, or?
I guessed
Okay,
which
yeah.
ones were from you directly. Well, also, there was no copy-pasted ask challenge.
That's true. It
So-
was just the link.
It was just a link
All
to
right.
some strange thing in a language I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. I do like the people who are like, if David needs more things to play, and it's like,
Well, thank you for indulging me.
yeah, it's not necessarily a thing of if he needs more to play, but definitely having more things available to play is great.
Yeah, I mean, if we just need background music, I can also just jazz improv some stuff for a
Yeah.
while, but it's kind of more fun to see what chat throws at me.
Did you take piano lessons then when you were quite young, or?
I started piano when I was 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I did Royal Conservatory classical piano for about 12 years. I did jazz, like I had a jazz teacher. And then I played in a jazz band for about 5 years, and then started doing just whatever the heck I felt like, and eventually ended up in a I'm in a goth rock band. Am I allowed to shout out my band?
Yes.
Is that a thing I can do?
Yeah, do it.
I'm in a band called Lonely Funeral. We're in Vancouver. Look it up. We're on Instagram at Lonely Funeral Band. Thank you.
That is a very gothy name.
It is very gothy. Yeah, it's been described as like it's romantic goth. It's somewhere in the triangle between like Evanescence, Rob Zombie, and like I don't know, early metric. Yeah.
Good.
So I
Yeah.
already found a link.
I also appreciate the fact that you were like, is it okay if I do that? It's like, yeah, it absolutely is okay for people to know where else they can find you. So that's good too. And all of a sudden, you know, your bandmates will be showing you like, why did we get 3,000 views on this thing overnight? What happened there?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any music actually like full recorded that's up online yet. We're hoping to record some stuff in the new year, but
So are you right now, is it like kind of a mix of like covers and originals?
it's all originals.
It's all originals, okay.
Yeah, if you come to one of our shows, it's all originals.
Nice.
We have, it's me. We have a lead vocalist, a drummer, and a guitarist.
That's a good combo. Very solid. Nice.
So if I don't come to your shows, it's not original? Is that what you're saying?
You'll never know
Yeah.
if you don't come to a show because we don't have anything posted up online except for clips from shows. Yeah.
Was music then a thing where you're like, I can take a lot of other jobs, but this is something that I definitely want to try to get a go of it? Or you're like, I want to do this like as a side gig for as long as I possibly can because it's just so much fun?
It's actually funny. I played music all the way up through university, and then I kind of dropped out of it after I moved to Vancouver, because I didn't know anybody in the city. Right, I moved there for work, so I was just doing work, and I wasn't really looking for a band or anything like that. I would play, video game music and whatever I felt like on my own time, but I was at a random party, completely unrelated, and got talking to this lady who was talking to someone else about her band, and I was like standing nearby, and she's like, and the other person joked like, oh, well, if you need a saxophone player, let me know. And she goes, well, we don't, but if you know any keyboard players, like,
Ah, okay.
and I go, wait a moment. I'm a keyboard player, yeah. And ended up in this band. And that was actually a previous band with the same lead singer, which there was a lot of drama and fell apart.
That's what
But,
happens, yeah.
Yeah, as bands do. So she and I basically left that band and created this new one called Lonely Funeral.
Neat.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is the, I guess then is the, because these days you can't, because the whole track in like the 80s and 90s even was like, you find a label, either you're doing regional gigs or you can really break it big and you can start playing national and like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But these days you can have an incredibly successful career, get on a SoundCloud, put your stuff on Bandcamp, those
yeah,
kind of
general.
tools. I don't even know if those are the tools people use anymore.
Yeah, that's the tools you use to get kind of your sounds out there, get people to become fans. Honestly, now, from what I've heard, most of your revenue is going to come from merch.
Right.
Right. It comes from selling T-shirts. It comes from, selling. We've got posters and magnets and whatever you want to get if you come to a show. We haven't set up an online store yet, but
And then you have to find someone to design the merch as well, obviously.
Yeah,
So you got to be
for
paying
sure.
people to make stuff, in that way. But
yeah, but
oh, it's cool.
yeah.
And then you hold a day job, I'm sure, on top of that.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in IT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when this became my day job, and then there was like there was a bigger balance of like, or I should say there was more of like a 50-50 split of like the management work and then the being on and doing stuff work. And as I have gone over time, I've noticed it's like I end up doing more management work because there's
Right.
more things that I want to give my attention to, or that I should give my attention to. That's even a better thing to focus on. And at no point, like, it's like I don't feel weird or bad about how the overall mix has changed either. That's like, this probably is just maybe where I felt I was going, and it also comes back to the thing of, but now I also, when I do the creative work, it is also like a blow-off valve for
Right.
all of the management work as well. So that's kind of nice in its own way.
That is interesting. So, when you say management, like in terms of managing people,
I do less of that than I do just kind of managing the overall the operations of the business, right?
Okay.
Make sure that numbers here go to here, make sure that money is flowing to here, make sure that money is coming back into the business from another location. If I have to deal with like, oh, we have to renew our insurance, it's like, okay, well, I better review all that stuff, read the contracts, do those kind of things,
right?
and yeah, a lot of that, less managing of. There was a point where at one point I was like, you could treat me like HR, and then I discovered over time like that doesn't work as well because I'm not as intimately familiar with all the things that need to happen with that, and so
Right.
it's like better to treat me like I'm the business manager, you handling payroll, listening to people and stuff too, but it's a different feel overall, and I don't know if I've quite nailed what I think is. I don't know if I'm doing my job 100% properly. I think is maybe the thing to say, as one of the owners sits here and listens to me say that. But I am not. I'm keeping us all out of prison, and I think that's what's
That
important.
seems
too.
good.
Yeah. I think that's also important too.
You're doing it better than we did it.
I appreciate that. That is very kind of you to say that.
Although I will tell you that is not that big a compliment.
Yeah.
We did it very poorly.
Sometimes it is about like when you start, all the little things where you're like, are we keeping our head above water? Are you, making sure that stuff is people are getting paid and making sure that's going out, and just a lot of things where I'm just because I can devote the brain time to them and I'm thinking about stuff like, oh, have we considered doing payroll like this? Have we considered making sure that how about benefits and stuff like that? And it's like those are things that. Earlier, I'm sure Biotar's media was probably very interested in. It'd be nice to do things in this way, but who do you talk to? How do you set it up? What time do you have to spend to devote to study these things? How do you move forward on that? And then when you have a person in that position who can handle it, it's way better because you're like, oh, Beej is looking after it.
Totally.
He will ensure that we can do this. I've been hoping over time at some point that we would attract enough people who are like pro or semi-pro musicians. Whether you're pro or semi-pro, it's like just of people who have a relatively high level of talent in playing music, to be able to have enough people here to put together a combo just for Desert Bus, just to play music.
I mean, I think we're pretty close to there.
We're getting overall, because Ian is a good bassist.
He was saying when I was on Night Watch that maybe he should bring in his bass for Omega.
Absolutely.
If we still got the keyboard, if you got the guitar.
Yeah.
Bass, guitar, fiddle, violin,
Keyboards.
and keyboards.
And we had people around for a while who there's like a drummer here or a drummer there kind of thing, but like most drummers, they eventually just wander away. And
Yeah, drummers are hard to nail down.
yeah,
They keep moving around too.
very active people. I have to assume
Yeah,
that
you don't need to. You just you do it like just stomping and clapping and things.
Yes.
You don't need real drum. Yeah, you don't need that.
you just it's proof that you can break out and be big if you just have a guy banging on an accordion case, right?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and then we have Paul or Julie for vocals.
Yeah. There's enough people around to the tricky thing then is you have to get everyone who might be living in different places all together in a place to be able to have practice sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then we also need a place to put the band. And at this point I guess it's on the roof, which would be great for the middle of the night.
Yeah, seems great.
I think it's like Family Guy or something where they start a band and they come up with all sorts of all these. They come up with all these like gimmicks and doing all these silly things and stuff, and then they get up to their first gig and they're like, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We don't know any songs.
Yeah.
Like they forgot to actually do any practicing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, drummers are the ones where you really run into issues because once you have a drum kit, it's loud.
Yeah.
Everyone else can play quietly.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have found especially in like relatively intimate venues, I often prefer not having there not being a drummer.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find the drummer just kind of the drums will kind of drown everything else out.
And drummers do not tend to like playing on electronic drum kits, which I can understand.
Yeah,
Because,
it doesn't have the same sort of array of sounds you can make.
yeah, and the
Same.
feedback is a little bit. It's not quite the same, or you have to buy a really expensive one to make it feel a little bit more like a real drum kit. But
They're great for practicing, and they're great for some specific, like if you're doing more electronic, like industrial stuff, because you can get the different sounds on the different kits. But it's, yeah, I mean, my band plays very loud. Right, I wear earplugs when I perform
nice.
because I like to keep my hearing.
Do you
And I encourage everyone who comes to the show to also bring earplugs because it's very loud. That's
if
just the way-
everybody is wearing earplugs,
Then why is it so loud? I don't know.
couldn't you just play the whole thing quieter?
That I would think so, but it's not my decision. It's
Yeah.
the sound person of the venue's decision.
Again-
It's something about wanting to feel the bass, right?
Yeah, that's
through
fair.
Everything.
There's the Canadian band Great Big Sea, wonderful folk band, but are known. I don't think they perform anymore, but they were known for being incredibly loud. That like their shows were just really like they were like they're they're like folk, I guess maybe folk punk a little bit,
Yeah.
but it was just like what, like you listen to their like CD or whatever and it sounds and it's great, wonderful folk songs and stuff, and it's like, why does this have to be played so loud? Grumble, grumble, grumble.
Yeah,
old person.
There are some, like, for electric guitars, I know you need it to be a certain loudness to get the right feedback noises and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, but
Yeah, and a lot of times too, when you're at a venue, like you're playing an arena or something like that, you're playing a large venue, something you had to convert. It's not acoustically sound, so
Right.
you end up having to fight the reflections and stuff with just more sound to hit the audience, and you can't set PAs up all around the whole venue because you don't have that much that you can bring with you. So everything has to come from the front. And so, yeah, that's that whole idea of like, how do I make sure the people in the back can hear it?
it's going to be loud for the people in front.
Exactly, yeah. Not the best idea for doing. I had seen. I went to see Diana Krall in the Windspear Auditorium in Edmonton, and the Windspear is set up to be an acoustic. Like it's set to be wonderfully acoustic because that's where the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra plays.
Okay.
And it was designed to be this place that can really carry sound quite well. And it was just her on the stage with a piano, and it sounded amazing. Like wherever you were, it just sounded great because it was carrying the whole thing. I'd never seen a rock band play Windspear though, and I have no idea how they would do it. But I imagine you could really dial down a lot of the overdriven speakers. You could probably spread that a lot more around.
Right.
Yeah.
When I saw the Longest Johns in Vancouver in theater called the Rickshaw.
Okay.
It's a really nice theater, but and apparently it was known for having good acoustics. But I did find I did enjoy their more stripped down songs.
Yeah.
When they had their full, like the guy on drums and bass and playing, and a couple of them have playing instruments, and maybe I was up in the balcony and maybe it wasn't the best sort of acoustically placed, but I found it sort of reverberated a lot and made it kind of hard to hear sometimes.
I'm not trying to say anything against the Longest Johns here, but I am surprised that there weren't just VIP tickets waiting for you at the theater. It's like you were like, I'm gonna show up. I want to see you guys. It's like, oh, Paul, we got VIPs. You can watch from backstage.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could have asked, but I didn't tell them I was going to be there.
You gotta remember to do that, right?
Yeah.
If you know
who I am?
If you know the artist, sometimes the artists are like, oh hell, that sounds awesome. We'll put some tickets in for you, right?
I mean, I definitely told them that they should come to Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
But